name?
Well, my name's Dave Barnes. I'm St. Clair Township Supervisor. I have been for 8 years. Before that, I was a trustee for 4 years. And to start off with, I would just like to say thank you to you for hosting this event, and for Cindy that has worked real hard putting this thing together. It's a lot of work to try to get people out and to put something like this together, and you've done a great job. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
It's a privilege.
And thank you for prayer. Yes, yes. Thank you for the prayer. I know that we
You're
serve
welcome.
a prayer answering God.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact, the surgeon that I had do my knee operation, I chose him partly because he prays with these patients before he has surgery. And I don't know whether he's praying that he does well or I do well, but I'll take it either way. But being the St. Clair Township Supervisor has been some challenges, but it's also got its rewards. St. Clair Township has a population of 33,000 people. We have a sewer plant. We have a road department, which Jim Hershey is the road commissioner, taking care of the roads for us. We have 3 parks. I'm fortunate enough to have very good trustees, work very well with the people. Don Wallace is our park chairman, a volunteer park chairman. He goes out and looks at the parks and see what we need. Very fortunate that we have a budget that we've worked within our budget and below our budget every year. So I'm not a big spend guy. Unless you need it, don't spend it, because we can use it to carry over for something else that we need. We take care of the sewers. As I say, in our sewer plant, we've got a reserve, not a reserve, but we've got money built up for some repairs that we had to make. Unfortunately, that time has come because some of our sewer tanks are like 45, 47 years old, and they've been deteriorating very rapidly. So we're now in the process of applying for a loan for like $6.2 million so that we can relocate those. And we've fortunate enough that we've been conservative in our spending, that we have the money, not all of it, but we've got enough to keep going. But we are going to try to get a loan because it's a low interest loan. And they may even forgive us part of that loan. We won't know that until that happens. You always have emergencies come up, it seems like. Whenever you have a sewer plant, which is old, it's about 49 years old, things come up, and if you don't have the money and if you don't work right, then you've got to raise the sewer rates, raise your taxes to help out with wages and salaries. Fortunately, when I was elected as supervisor 8 years ago, I reduced the taxes by about 12%, lowered the tax levy. I've kept it at that for 6 years, and then we reduced them again. We also have the lowest sewer rates of anyone in St. Clair County. We reduced those sewer rates. And I'm very conservative. I look at it as, if it's my money, am I going to spend it on that or not? I want it to be spent well. And by doing so, we've been able to maintain and upgrade all of our, most of our sewer plant, sewer lift stations, sewer lines. We've withstood lawsuits, frivolous lawsuits. Matter of fact, one of the gentlemen that's running for road commissioner brought together a lawsuit against us because he didn't like what we were doing. And I say frivolous because he didn't even live in the township. It didn't affect him. So we looked at that. That carried on for a number of years. This board that we have now was able to take care of that, and we won that lawsuit, saving the township about $3 million. So we're proud of that. We've got 3 parks that we take care of, 3 tennis courts. When the COVID hit, we had just began the replacement of our phone system that allowed our employees to work from home. So we were very fortunate. We didn't have to let any of our employees go. We kept a full workforce, even though they're working from home, and they're still working from home. We're proud of that nothing had to be cut, no services were cut. Our sewer people were still out working every day, but we managed to take care of them because of the way we look at spending money. And the board that we have, the trustees, their main job, the way I see it and the way they see it and the way the township sees it, is to audit the bills. So they come in and they audit. We're very transparent in what we do. They're posted on our website. Our budget is posted. Our expenditures are posted every month. So you can see what we do and where we spend our money. I think that's wide open. Be open about it. That way you don't have to worry about it. So I'm very proud of that. The people that are running against me this year, the person has been to one township meeting in 12 years that I've been there. And the thing that I always think, you need to work as a township trustee and then move on up, because how are you going to walk into a situation where you have a $3 million budget and you don't even know what it is? You don't have any idea what the township does. You barely know where it is. You're walking down the road and you go, oh, there's the township. I think I'll run for supervisor. I can handle a $3 million budget and make checks out. Nah, I don't think that's the way it works. I think you need to be a trustee and build up to know what you're doing. But everyone's got a chance. If you throw your hat in the ring, go ahead and do it. And good luck to you. Competition brings out the best in everyone. Any questions?
Well, you talk a lot about sewers, and actually, obviously, sewers are sewers, but everybody needs them. They're not pretty.
Yes, they do.
They're not pretty, but everybody needs them. A question I have is, and I've noticed this around our area quite a bit, there's a lot of restaurants you go into, and it just reeks of sewer gas.
A lot of those restaurants probably in their P-trap doesn't have water in their P-trap, so that's allowing the sewer smells to come back up through there. So it's just a simple matter of putting water in their trap and they'll stop it.
I understand that, and I've told restaurant managers that, and if you put a little bit of vegetable oil in it, it'll keep that water from evaporating, so it makes it stay and it keeps that gas out. But it just seems to me that every single one of them should have a clue, or is there another problem that goes along with that that's causing a greater issue? Because I've noticed that we talk about it, my family and I, we drive around, and it's like you smell sewer gas a lot of different places now that you didn't before. And like I said, you mention it a lot, and right. You talk about it's a big deal. You want to borrow $6.5 million, whatever, 6.2, to redo the system. Well,
it's actually not redoing the system, which I can understand the complaints, because I hate going into a restaurant or a store in a place and use a restroom and it stinks to high heaven.
Yeah.
And you smell it even in the restaurant when they open the door. The $6.2 million that we're talking about borrowing is to replace our aging tanks, our holding tanks.
Okay.
So that's what we need to do. It was going to cost roughly $2 million to repair them without seeing what was going on underneath the tanks. So we figured, well, they're 47, 49 years old. Let's just use our money wisely, get a 20-year loan, and fix it. And that way we're condensing 2 tanks into 1 tank and making it better. We've also, one of our parks in Luke Creek Park, we've done projects in there, making it more user-friendly over in Lincolnshire neighborhood. We're getting ready to go into phase 2 of that park recommendations, and a lot of it that Dr. Wallace and the board has recommended, the park board has recommended that we do. Putting in restrooms, we've put in a walking trail, we've put in pavilions. Before it was just kind of, it was there, but it wasn't a park. So we want the neighborhood, and we want the people to use the parks. So now then they can rent the pavilions and have barbecues and family get-togethers and get out there and make it a family-oriented thing. I mean, that's why we're here, to service the public and to service the people that put us in office. That's what we want to do.
Now, are you going to have, are there going to be restrictions and things on that because of the whole COVID thing? We all know, obviously, we're conservative. I don't think we agree with a lot of the lockdown stuff that we've had to deal with, a lot of the issues we've had to deal with. I mean, I've had COVID. My family's had COVID. We talked about that earlier. It's real. There's no doubt in my mind it's real. We came through it, and I would be considered core mobility because I had, unbeknownst to me, I had contracted hepatitis C when I was in the military 40 years ago, and it affected my liver, and so I went through I had a 2-year major battle in the last 2 years, and the Lord has blessed me, and brought me through that. But I came through COVID with no issues at all. I mean, it was so. I'm not understanding. I mean, I realize it treats everybody else differently, and so my question is, are they going to be, because they're talking now about the whole mask thing and all this stuff till 2022, and the federal government, which absolutely blows my mind. You're going to have, the parks, you want people to rent the pavilions and stuff like that. Is there going to be any kind of weird off-the-wall restrictions that if you have, you can only have so many people from your family at a barbecue in the park? If I rent a pavilion, do you want people to wear masks? I mean, I'm not a mask guy, period,
Very good question. No, I'm not a mask guy either. But we do have restrictions in the park, in the pavilions, but we're not a police state. Once you rent the pavilion and you see the guidelines, it's posted, and if more people come out there on a Saturday afternoon, I'm not going to go out there and say, hey, you need to leave. You've got too many people here, or you're not wearing your mask. Mask, if you want to wear them, wear them. We've put on our playgrounds, we taped them off last summer to try to keep people away from them, because they were saying disinfect all of your playground equipment and do this and that. So we tried that. They kept tearing down the tape and playing on the playground anyway. So we said, I'm not wasting any more money on it. If you want it, here it's posted. Do not play or stay 6 feet apart or whatever. But I'm not going to be out there trying to manhandle you or make you do one way or the other. It's your decision. You're an adult. We've done all we can do. We've posted it. Now it's up to you.
I mean, do you get any kickback? I mean, I'm sorry. Do you get any pushback from like the mayor of Belleville or anything with any of the issues?
No, since we're not part of the mayor or part of Belleville, I don't get any kickback at all. From them.
But Belleville is in the township, right?
We have portions of it, of Belleville, but not the city. It's still township. So,
Okay.
so Belleville is their own governmental agency, and the township is ours. And so
Okay.
I do kind of look at different areas, at the Fairview Parks and the Shiloh Parks and the Belleville Parks when all this was going on, to see what we could do. Most of them was the same way. They put up tape and they put up some barriers. Barriers were knocked down, the tape was torn off, and you do what you can, and that's about all.
Yeah. Okay. Question?
Do you have much overtime for your sewer workers?
Actually, our sewer time, I'm sorry, the overtime for our sewer workers has been minimized because we've done a lot of maintenance on our sewer lines and on our lift stations and upgraded them. But yes, we still do have overtime. When something goes wrong, we have 3 inches of rain in a short time period. It overflows some of our systems, and I was talking to my sewer foreman the other day. He got called out at 3 o'clock in the morning because of the situation. Some of the things that we've done, though, is we've put generators at our lift stations, because my guys were having to go out there when it was lightning and thundering and everything and work in that. Now then, the generators kick in, so our guys don't have to go out there. It's a safety issue with me, protecting my workers.
Okay. You have a question?
Dave, can you talk about how you have calm meetings now that you've all come together and you've worked together? Before it was such chaos that you as a citizen couldn't even go to the meeting, but now they are very calm and collected. Could you speak to that, sir?
Well, I don't really like to look back a lot because we have a great group now, These last 4 years, we've worked well together because we had one purpose, and that was the residents of the township. Nobody had a political agenda. Nobody came in there to fight. Nobody came in to argue. Matter of fact, at the beginning of this 4-year term, we had some people come in that was used to being there in the last 4 years and said, "This is boring. We're not coming back. There's no fighting." And they haven't been back. They came to watch a show, and that show has deceased. We're there to work for the township and the residents. My road commissioner sued me as a supervisor because the board didn't approve money to hire a fifth individual for the road work. Well, yeah, the previous, not this one, the first 4 years. That's what Cindy was talking about, the previous, yeah. The first 4 years, he came in and we said, "No, you don't have the money to do that." Well, come January, he ran out of money to pay his employees. And since I'm the CEO and have to write checks and sign checks, I said, "There's no money to pay your employees." Got mad and sued me. So he used township money to sue the township. I had to use township money to fight him, and he was pretty heavily involved in the opposite party of what I'm involved in. So I thought, well, here we go. We're going to lose, but we went to court. We won, you know? Because when you stand, I think, again, if you stand on what's right, you don't have to worry about it. It's when you try to do everything under the table or underhanded or I'll do you favors here, do you favor there, that's when you got to start worrying. He knew that he didn't have enough money. I knew he didn't have enough money. I wasn't going to sign his checks. Simple as that. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's pandemic thing, and I've had a year-long thought. The government, they preach to us, hand washing, social distancing, masks, vaccine, all of it. And me, okay, I did some research. Okay, all this hand washing and everything it's things that we know as adults that we must do. You know. So they're preaching this to us that we think that we should do. But if you do your research, there is things, why ain't they telling us things that we should do, like better our health, get out, exercise, take vitamins, that is now being proven to combat this COVID. You know, and you don't hear none of that in the government. And it's just mind-boggling to me why they don't want to talk to us about it. You want to say anything about it?
Well, I think as individuals, I'm like you, I believe in vitamins and that type of thing. But you've got so many people that want to be followers instead of standing for their individual rights, that they are scared to death that if they don't do this or that, then they're, and COVID is very real. I've had friends that had it. They said my brother passed away because of COVID. So it's real. But ever since this thing first started, I've been to rallies. We've been out and about the community. We didn't wear a mask. And we just watch it. I think the people do need to be more aware of the vitamins and the things that they can do. The exercises and trying to stay physically fit helps out, I think, tremendously. But you just have to watch it. We're adults, so we can watch out what we do and make our own decisions, I believe.
That's okay. No, and one of the things about that is I think when we talked to Peggy here a little bit, because she's running for, the U.S. Senate, which is, I mean, obviously, you got a part to play. I don't know what your political aspirations are. I mean, you've been to here working in the township supervisor for, for several years. And I don't know if you plan on moving onward or upward. I don't know if you plan on running for governor one day. I don't know.
No.
You know.
But I have ran for state senate and state rep.
You have.
Yes, and everything came together above the hill. Below the hill was a catastrophe.
Yeah.
When those votes came in, it wasn't good.
Well, and all those things I believe are subject to change. I really do. I mean, that's one of the reasons we're out here, because they've put this whole 501c3. You use that. The whole purpose of the Johnson doing that amendment was to shut the churches and control the churches. That was because they knew if the people behind the pulpit ever started saying things, that people will follow their leaders. And so that's why they try to use that against us. And I just come to the realization that we got to get people in office that's got the same belief systems that we have, the same desires that we have. I want somebody representing me that believes what I believe. And and that's what this is all about. And that's why we're out here, and we're going to be out here to stay, because we can't stand by idly any longer. And that's all the churches. We're just one church, and we're not anywhere near the biggest church in town. We do have access to a lot of people, especially when it comes to statewide, because I'm in a group of ministers that is nationwide, worldwide. And so we have opportunities to get information out all over, and we do that. And we're going to do everything we can to help people get elected that need to be in office, and because we're not going to stand idly by. And so when it comes to that kind of thing, as far as the what we can do is, I'll say this: I'm convinced that part of the reason that they don't promote just natural things that you can do. A friend of mine, another pastor friend of mine, had COVID. His doctor, when he went to his doctor and asked him, "What do I do?" he said, "You need to take vitamin D and zinc every day." He didn't tell him anything about any kind of vaccine or anything. He said, "You take this," and that's what he took, and he was fine in 2 weeks. And so whenever we got COVID, that's one of the very things we did. We started taking vitamin D and zinc, and we was good. In 3 days, we made it through 85% of the symptoms in 3 days. And so, and we had the full-blown stuff. I mean, you couldn't smell a thing. You could spray cologne on a rag and stick it in your nose, you couldn't smell it. And that's weird, you couldn't taste anything, and you felt tired, you was fatigued and all that. So it's real, there's no doubt. And it affects some people a lot worse than it does other people. I believe that there could be underlying conditions that people may not know about because they just didn't get diagnosed before, and then it hits them harder than it hits other people. But we look at the science, and 99.8 or 9% of the people recover, and that's what you got to focus on. Because people, the flu, if you notice, the flu has disappeared. Ever since COVID came in, the flu's disappeared. It's totally gone. Well, you can't tell me that people they haven't had a flu this last year. But that's all. That's all part of it. But I mean, as far as being in your situation, you don't have to deal with that. But if you're going to run for representative again, or if you're going to run for state senator again, or whatever, then obviously we want to know where you stand on those things, because if you're going to do it and you're going to do a good job, then that's who we want to vote for. Sure.
And I appreciate you saying that, because when we did run for state senate, we were able to speak in a couple of churches. One down in East St. Louis, or Edgemont, allowed us to come in and introduce ourselves and tell them what we were doing. The other one, the men's ministries up at Pastor Doug White's church, allowed us to come in and speak to the men's ministries group, to just share and introduce ourselves. And then another church over here allowed us to introduce ourselves. So I think the churches have to get involved. You've got to at least let the candidates come up and share why they're running, or just say their names, because we do need the church's backing. And if Christians would get out and vote, then we would win every time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But they don't. So that's a situation that we have that hopefully it could be remedied. but I don't know how without someone in the pulpit speaking out. I love to listen to Pastor Hagee and Jensen Franklin because they're not afraid to speak out the truth. And yourself allowing us to come in here and provide the equipment. I think that's awesome that you're doing this. Thank you very much. Before I quit, I just want to, well, one of my trustees went inside, but we have two other trustees, Dr. Wallace and John Bosler here today. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you for serving on the board, running for re-election. And Jim Hershey, the road commissioner. Thank you, Jim, for all that you do. We couldn't do it without everyone working together. So thank you very much.